Welcome to this quick video about the most exciting game today, our World Chess Rapid Magnus Carlsen White against Alireza Black. That's the game that everybody wanted to see. E4 plays by Magnus, Alireza plays the Caro Kann, and E5 advanced variation. Now the game continues, and here a key moment. Alireza plays the knight from G8 to E7. But in a previous game during the World Cup this summer, FIDE with Black played this position, and after knight e2, queen d8, the game continued, and eventually Magnus prevailed. So here, a different variation. Of course, h3 played, Magnus is not surprised, as prepared. And here we have another key moment. Here, Alireza goes for bishop g6. A lot of game I be played by taking here. Why take here? Then you get a tempo on the bishop retreats, you play knight e5, castle, bishop e7. And in this lineup, you have a very strong control of the d5 square. But instead, Alireza decides not to trade any pawns and play bishop g6. Let's go quickly here, and castle and castle. f6 played, and we have a very robust, solid position for black and a slight edge for white here, right? Nothing is decided. Let me bring you to the middle game. Knight f8 played, and now let's look at this position. Alireza has the queen on h4, the rook on f5, threatening here, the knight could come, maybe the bishop and the rook here. You can see that there's some kind of initiative on the king side for black. What is white play, right? It's not so clear what white should do. And here, typical Magnus Carlsen move, knight d1. He wants to reroute the knight, going back to e3, maybe g4, and then e5. Because if you look in here, the knight here is not doing much, right? That's protected, cannot go here. Going here doesn't threaten much, could simply play bishop b6, so knight d1. And here black had to be precise and play rook f7, rook retreats. Now, knight d3 would have been played by Magnus, knight g6. And now you can see that the knight is coming here. The base move would be to trade. But if you go here, you can see that the knight come here, attacking here. And you can see that black is doing fine. So that was a critical moment. Instead of playing here rook going back to f7, bishop b6 played. But that bishop doesn't do much here, and that pawn here is protected. So not so clear what was Alireza doing at the moment. Knight e3 played, attacking the rook, rook g5. Clearly attacking the pawn here, but Magnus attacked the rook, and here king h2 protects h3, protects here, and then you may have queen f2 coming in very shortly. Rook retreats, a few more moves, and here what to do. Here rook c3, the rook lift, because the rook comes here, but the rook wants to come either to f3 or to g3. So very nice maneuver, and you can see that Magnus is stronger in positional chess because he maneuvered his pieces, knight on g4 and rook on c3, better than black because the queen retreated, the rook is here, and that knight is very passive. So we're gonna continue a little bit here. The game continued. This is not the critical moment yet, and then keep maneuvering here. By the way, very important, if you take on e5 at that moment is very bad, because then you would do take here and you have a very strong attack with here f5 and rook c1, very strong. Let me give you an example. If you just wait, you can just do rook c1 and you take that. If you wait on the king side, you take bishop a3, rook c7, and you have a very strong edge for white. So here, the knight on e5 is very strong. And I want to remember that the key was knight d1, knight e3, knight g4, knight e5. Super play by the world champion. And here move 33. That was the key moment. And of course, black had to take on e5. Obviously, you cannot take like that because you have check and you capture the bishop. So of course, Magnus will play d e5 and now g5, attacking that. And then most important, the knight will come here attacking e5 or f4. This is very important. Let me just show you a variation. And here, clearly, that would be the way to go. And yes, white is attacking over here, but you're attacking and the bishop on d4, very double-edged. But instead, g5 played right away. So Alireza had a chance to take that knight at that moment. He did not. Knight g4. Magnus saying, you cannot take my knight any longer. Knight h6, that's a nice fork here. So that's a nice tempo. Of course, king g7. But now this is a difference. f5, and you can see that knight here is coming to f5 and is attacking the black king side. And the problem is with that f5 pawn, that knight here is stuck. Cannot come here because I would take and has to defend e6. So that knight over here is way better than the knight on f8, and that's the story of the game. Now, this g5 move was not forced, and after f5, you can see that white has control on the light squares. So game continued, another bad move here. The best move was to wait queen c8, very hard to find, but even at the rook f3, white would be better. But here, knight g4 again, coming again to attack here, and you have, once again, a fork. So black is defending, and now f6. And you can see dominating on that diagonal, very strong on here. That knight is dominant, and black is passive. So check, take you on h6, coming back. And this is a position where the knight is stuck here, cannot go anywhere. That bishop doesn't have any target. That rook attacks, but it's defended. It's all whites. And here, the position is winning. We exchange a few pieces, taking the c5, going back on e5. Look at that knight here and that knight here. Clearly, the knight on f8 is stuck, and you are threatening f7. You are threatening rook coming here. There's nothing you can do. So black wait passively. And here the only counterplay would be queen c2. But guess what? Rook f2, no counterplay. h4, no counterplay, because if you take here, maybe there could be some chances if you come in, I don't know, rook somehow, and queen h4 blocking any counterplay. Now check, knight g5, and game over. Why is it game over? Well, if you try to attack over here, f7, queen e5, and you're winning this way, if you try to defend on the 7 rank like that, then you have many ways to win, but this will be easy. You take here, and if you take back, you have absolutely a winning position here. So in this position, black resigned. So we can say that there was another game where Magnus shows that while Alireza is the future of chess and potentially a candidate and a challenger, as of today, the understanding of chess by Magnus is stronger, especially in quiet positions. And here, when we had this 91, right, a knight retreating on the first rank, but then super play on all these squares and f4 play, it was complete domination by Magnus. So exciting game, Magnus is in the lead, and if he continues to perform like that, he's expected to win another crown, the world title for Rapid. But the competition still goes on, and he has a lot of contenders like Grishuk, Duda, also Hikaru Nakamura, and a lot of stronger masters are trying, Jobava, are trying to also get the top title of World Chess Champion for Rapid Chess. Thank you for watching.